Okay,
Ready, Mr. Baptiste?
I'm ready. Yes.
Great. Okay, well, let me tell you about this thing is called a leadership project. This is more like a proposal
Okay.
of ideas that we do at in one of the course that I am taking. And this this leadership project, it's the purpose on this particular case. It's about a teacher training on the use of CLIL approach in the classroom for teaching the Spanish language. And it has to do with collegiate work with interdisciplinary projects. Like, let's say, if you have a biology teacher that wants to collaborate with a Spanish project, so we do it together, maybe
Mhm.
once in a while.
Okay.
This project, the proposal, is a 2-hour long online workshop to provide resources and authentic materials to implement CLIL in the classroom. So you will see what CLIL is. CLIL is an approach that language teachers sometimes use to teach another language but not as the focus in the language, but focus on content.
Okay.
So the name it's called Content Language Integrated Learning. That's the name of the approach. It's been around probably for 10, 15 years. And it's a student-based or a student center. It's a method that focuses on development and it's the relevance of the processes of the task rather than memorization or theoretical information. It has to do with developing critical thinking,
Mhm.
to using the language, the Spanish language, as a means to learning content, not so much the focus on the language, like I said before.
Hmm.
So the methodology allows for the 4 skills of the language. Here I use English language, but it's actually Spanish because I use this methodology to teach English, but I've been using it to teach Spanish as well. It can be used like in any language. Um, to be exercise in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, which are the 4 skills that students develop. So like I said, we use authentic materials, we use critical thinking, and we analyze sometimes like problems around the world, like to give a general idea of global education as well. And it also encourages the development of fundamental soft skills such as teamwork, autonomy, frustration, tolerance, and critical thinking, among others. As you've seen, sometimes I try to have students work in teams with the mini team projects, and I make some adjustments. And, my goal will be for students to adjust to other students and not always work with the same people.
Mhm.
But, that's what happens. Sometimes it's not possible. Then, as you can see about CLIL, for this approach, it has 4 C's, which is communication, content, culture, and cognition. So it has to do with learning the language for communicating, but
Okay.
we learn it by using it. And then the content, the progression of the knowledge, is understand to related specific elements of the fine curriculum. As you notice in class, sometimes I use like history and literature for students to learn the Spanish language as well. And
Hmm.
then we have cognition, the developing thinking skills, and the culture, expose them to the alternative perspectives to understand and have like a global awareness of social awareness of other people from different countries, different customs. And then the objectives, the teach using the CLIL approach online those will be like the proposal objectives. The students will participate in interdisciplinary projects Or sometimes with like the Spanish teacher from Spanish 1 and then make collaboration with like maybe an online activity with the Spanish 4 students. And so yeah, they can participate with students from other groups, class, other subjects as well. That's why it's interdisciplinary. And this doesn't have to be in person. Like these projects can be done, in the school and online setting, just like we usually do. And then one other of the objectives is the compilation of authentic resources for meaningful speaking practice.
Okay.
Now, the timeline, well, the project implementation, I know that we are at the end of the school year, so it's not possible. But, if you're going to be, or if we are going to be working in the next school year, like take into consideration to be working or having communication online and, collaborating with these little projects. And also the workshop, it's already designed. I've already taught this workshop before in Spanish, but I can do it in English as well. And I have resources that I can share. I made a website with materials, rubrics, checklists, etc. And let me show you. This is the little website is, simple, rustic. And it has like some strategies, catálogos de estrategia, where, some apps that the teachers can use for polishing the pronunciation of the students, some paperwork that, if you want to check out, you can, or teachers can check it out. And, as you can see, the Padlet, which is one interactive board that I use where students can record themselves, upload some videos, and, this little create websites. Like these are the type of projects that we do besides researching and everything. So let me see, videos. There are some videos like for people to learn what CLIL is and so on and so forth. Like I said, I have this workshop. It's like a mini workshop of 2 hours that, could be implemented in case of Spanish teachers would like to get access to more resources for activities and stuff that will enrich, I will say, or collaborate with their teaching practice. I don't know what you think of this. I'm going to stop sharing. And what do you think of the idea? It doesn't mean that you have to do it, but like your ideas about this.
Okay. The first thing is, what levels are we referring to? Is it like after 1 year of Spanish introductory, or
It can
Spanish
be
three
Spanish
or
1.
four? Spanish 1.
Yes, the idea is to have students get used to like a Spanish routine, like using vocabulary. It could be used in any grade. Obviously, if you start with Spanish 1, you have to do like bilingual approach because you cannot be fully in Spanish everything. But what I have done by doing this, I simplified the activities and
Okay.
I add a lot of visuals so they know what you're talking about, what we're talking about when we're giving instructions. I give them checklist. So it is doable for any level.
Okay, so let's say, for example, because I'm a science person, science. So,
Mhm.
so let's say the student is doing biology.
Mhm.
So you can incorporate that into like they can learn the biology, but
E-
instead of English, they can incorporate it in Spanish.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Let's say, I'm going to give you an example. If you're
Uh,
teaching, if
um,
you're teaching the cell,
government, and history, stuff like that. History.
it can be used in any subject. Like let's say you're teaching biology, you're teaching the cell, and
Yeah,
students have to maybe present all the parts of the cell, an example, and then they can do it in English, but they can also do it in Spanish. That's what I have students do. Like, oh, I'm gonna like show you my little model with the parts of the cell, but also I can show you how we say this in Spanish. And they say like the parts of the cell,
okay.
mitochondria, and all of these
Yeah,
different parts.
nucleus,
Nucleus, núcleo, mitochondria, etc., etc. So they start developing this simultaneously using both languages. I do
it-
this with architecture. I do this with in
really?
university. I work with university students. Psychology. It gets a bit more complex, obviously, because we're
Yeah,
talking about college.
it can get complicated, complex. Yes, because I have my biases. It's not going to be easy in some of the sciences, and especially trigonometry, mathematics.
Yes, I
Cer-
understand that.
Certain level of mathematics is not gonna be easy. You know, chemistry, stuff like that. But I can see it in social study.
Yes, social
I
studies.
I can see it, yes, I can see it in
Yes.
stuff like that. Art, even art, right?
Yes, I've been doing this. I used to teach this subject. I think it's called global citizenship in English. And you know, we used to analyze a lot of like problems in different countries,
Okay.
and that was in middle school. And you know, it's related to social studies, but you know, focus on analyzing like global issues around the world. Like for social studies is a good idea. Like you said, when you're talking about math and science and chemistry and you know trigonometry and all of those, it becomes more complex. I
Yes.
mean, it can be done, but it's no need. Like I said, these are like interdisciplinary projects. If one teacher wants to do it and feels interested, like they can do it, you know, whichever is, you know, possible. And we can also work with like teachers from different groups, like Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, like do collaboration boards, collaboration forums, like maybe have them do a similar project, but with different degrees of difficulty. So it is doable. I have
But
the
then again,
resource. Mhm.
before you start talking about those level of mathematics, you do have prerequisite, which they need to have the foundation. I I um I think it's a very good idea, but I'm not sure if I want to do that in September and October, not the first semester. I think it would be best like on the second semester after the kids have obtained a certain level of that uh of the Spanish background. I think it would be best like in the second semester after 4 months or 5 months of learning the basic Spanish.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then you can start branching into the clear.
It seems like a very good it seems like a very good idea, like if you think about it, because first they have to get like the basis. Once they have the basis, like a like prerequisite, then they can actually move on to attend like the instructions a little bit easier. It will be a little bit easier for the students. Like I said, I with the students from Spanish 1, I use this approach. The only difference is that I focused on like
Culture,
simple things.
culture.
yeah, culture,
Yeah.
literatures, easy reading, easy authentic materials. And obviously, in Spanish 4, it's a lot easier for them to grasp the concepts.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah, I agree with you.
No, I would, yes, it's a good idea. We can, yeah,
Maybe implement it here and there.
yes.
You let me know when you feel like, oh, you know what, this teacher can work with this other teacher, and especially if the other teacher speaks Spanish as well, like, because you have like all kinds of teachers that do speak Spanish, so sometimes they do want to collaborate, like for enriching the cultural aspects of education. So if that's the case, and like, you just let me know, and I'll just get in contact online with the other person.
It's a very good idea. I would definitely implement it. Well, I mean, I'm not a director. He doesn't need my okay to because that takes away some of the critical comments from the students. I'm like, man, because the students are like, this is boring. Whereas if you incremented different different subject area, you put another dimension, you put a twist to it, you put it like more interesting, because the students might be interested in drawing, art, or music, or sociology, history, or stuff like that. They just added a different dimension to it. Just make it more interesting, diversify.
Exactly. It's not like your typical traditional language class, because it can become boring. It adds, a little bit more complexity. Sometimes students get bored because they already know a bit of Spanish. So it's like, oh, I'm just like doing quizzes and stuff. So that is the beauty of the approach. You can make it as fun as you want. You can make it as challenging as you want.
Yes, yes.
And if you need more information about CLIL, I gladly can share with you maybe some videos, resources here and there, like quick 2 to 3 minute videos where you can get an idea how this works.
Okay, yes, sure. Um, and it doesn't only have to be in Spanish. The French teacher can incorporate that as well.
Of course you can. Yes. I will
Okay.
have to use, like I told you, it's a little workshop. So I will have to like give them the guidelines, and I have even a checklist. Like, you fill up a checklist. It already has the information. You just have to check the marks just to make sure that your planning or your lesson is following the CLIL approach.
Okay.
So you get that check mark, you are monitoring yourself and saying, oh, okay, so I am doing my little planning, and my planning is aligned with the CLIL. And then just you do check marks. And once you have the planning, and like you're working with another language like the French teacher, any language can use it. Actually, CLIL is an approach that is used in Europe, in Spain especially, and in different countries. In different schools, I think some Nordic countries use it, and it has to do with like the UN, like it's aligned with the global goals of the UN. So it is an approach that in the States, I think they don't use it much.
Not as much. Yeah. Well, yeah. You know about the US.
They use something similar. They use a similar approach, I think, content-based instruction, I think it's called. Because there are many different approaches to teaching or methodologies. But CLIL, I like it because it's more focused on like the global cultural aspects, and the usefulness of the second language, instead of just focusing on learning a language just because.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sure. You have the email. You can forward some of that video.
I can send you the slides that I made and some extra information. This was my project for my master's degree when I was studying.
Okay.
And I implemented here in Mexico. I was working at the university, so I was teaching the course at the university.
Okay.
And one of the teachers, she was teaching German. to the engineering students. So she was like, she liked the idea, but it was a bit challenging because, you know, they have all these terms. But
Right.
at least, you know, when it's like work related, because, you know, she was like teaching stuff for like workforce in the school as well. So it was useful in that area for the interviews and, you know, that kind of stuff. But for other subjects that were more like science, it
Hmm.
wasn't as easy. It was a bit tricky.
All
So like
right.
I said, it could be in many different languages. It doesn't necessarily has to be Spanish. If you want to do it with like French and Spanish, we can go at it with like simultaneous projects
And
as well.
and you can apply it in a different content area.
Hmm. Definitely. All right, Mr. Baptiste.
All right. I think you're done with Bethel, right?
With the what?
I think you're done with Bethel High School.
With Bethel High School, I have no idea if they're gonna renew my contract.
No, no, I think you finished. This is your last, that was your last class.
That was my last, yeah, this is my last class because the Spanish one, that was yesterday. And this one, Spanish 4, is the last day. That was only gonna have one student.
Yeah, I have another teacher on Zoom.
Ms. Arica,
Yes.
how are you working with her?
Um, we are working. Yeah, it's the Spanish one. The students are more immature, of course. They're
Yeah,
more
I know.
immature. Yeah, it takes ah repetition, repetition. I constantly have to let the students know this is not a recreation center.
Goodness.
You know, recreation center where they just come to hang out.
They
Uh,
see language classes as that, like, oh, just
yeah.
let's go sit around. And sometimes they connect, sometimes they don't. We have our challenges.
Oh, actually, there's some of her classes we got 85% passing, you know.
Hmm.
And then I think what the lowest she has is most likely 65% passing.
Hmm.
But it's coming out though. It's coming out. There's one class that's like really behavior. It's hard to control. But some of her class she got 85, 90% passing, which is very good.
I'm worried about my students. What do you think
So
I should do? Should I just pass them?
that class that class if you get 65% passing, that's good.
So it's not me, it's the students.
Oh no, no, it's no, it's the students. It's just the expectation is what is it that you know they want to do. I have there's students in that class that's passing one. This is not a mistake. This is not a mistake. There are students in that class that's passing 1 out of 6 class. So if they're
Wow.
passing 1 out of 6, you know the other side of the coin.
Hmm.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they're passing 1 out of 6, therefore they're failing 5 out of 6.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about the interest and the you know the expectation.
Let me see what I have. Now you got my attention about the grades. Let me check.
Yeah,
'Cause-
if you get 65% for that class, it's good.
But I don't even think
It's,
that we're gonna do
um,
65%. And I don't even give them that much work. That's what gets me. Like, I do like one quiz, one activity, 2
well,
assignments per day. They
well,
have,
the one you had today was 95% passing, so that's good.
yes.
The Spanish
And
4.
I have a question about
That's
Lincoln.
I know, but
Lincoln has a,
it's weird because I think he's taking physics. I mean, if he's taking physics, you know, you got to be up there to be able to take physics.
and yeah, do you know if he has like a different
Yeah, yeah,
characteristic, like,
yeah, he doesn't socialize with anybody.
so it could be Asperger's or something like that. Asperger's.
What is that?
It's like it's within the autistic traits, or
Ah,
it's part of, it's an umbrella. Like, some are highly functional.
okay. It's a condition,
It's a condition, yeah.
because he's taking other, high level courses.
High level courses
Because
and mathematics.
I don't think his average is more than 50.
Is he doing good with the other courses, like having good grades?
Yeah, his math is, yeah, and the physics, for him to be able to take physics.
Maybe I should make some adjustments for him, for his activities. Like, I should have done some aspects. I actually didn't know, like, I try to get information about him. But yeah, like, if in the future I'm still working with you guys, it'd
Yeah,
be awesome if I get like the heads up of what's going on in the classroom. If you see like maybe
yeah,
a student with special
withdraw
needs,
very little on performance.
and so that way I can make arrangements for that student, adjustments to help them reach the same level and prove their knowledge, even if it's in a different way, like maybe written instead of speaking, instead of presenting, maybe doing a little reflection page, something like that. It would have
But,
been good for him.
but the school still need a Spanish teacher. There's one teacher that's retiring, that's in the building retiring, and they still need another Spanish teacher.
So
Yeah.
I hope they rehire me. I really like working with Bethel.
Yeah.
It was a really good experience.
Yes, yes.
You should know about the experiences that I had in other schools. Oh my goodness.
Really?
Yeah, the students were even violent. Like,
Really?
wow. Yes, that was just crazy. We
Over
had like,
here, over here it's just try to get them to do the work.
but
But
no,
some of the other schools are not.
the students are respectful. What I noticed, like most of them are respectful. They know how to behave. Like they're not struggling in in those areas. But yeah, I had some students in, I think it's Baton Rouge and
Louisiana,
Milwaukee, and
Louisiana.
in Louisiana and Milwaukee, and oh my God, it was madness. They would not let me like complete the class. Like it was all interruptions, bad words, crazy.
So even with the assistant,
Yeah, sometimes the assistant can do so much, Sometimes they're overpowered by the students. As sad as it might sound, the education, it sometimes has the tricky parts. All right, Mr.
all right,
Baptiste, I think you have to go.
right, I do. All
Yeah,
right.
you can go ahead and disconnect. Don't worry about it because I see that you're getting everything ready. And I'm just gonna still be connected in case that Lincoln for
Oh,
some reason connects. I already
right.
send him email, and if you see him, just let him